Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 61 of Manifesting with Meg. We are going to have an amazing conversation tonight as this is the second installment of my author series. So I'm so excited to bring with us tonight this special guest, Gracia Rich. She is the author of The Handkerchief, and I can't wait to have her tell you guys all about it. As you guys know, March is the month of wisdom. So this is our last installment for March. And we're going to be talking about her wisdom around authorship and how it took her to this place on her journey. So I'm really excited to introduce you all to her tonight. Remember, this is a show about transformation, dreams, inspiration, true happiness, discovering bliss, and time to manifest the life of your dreams. Good evening, Gracia. How are you today?
I'm good, Meg. How are you? So glad to be here.
Great to have you. I just want to remind everyone that bliss is not just an abstract idea, but an attainable state of being. We're always just steps away from living the life that is packed with possibility. Before we begin, as everyone does know who's watched the show, this is a show that's based upon my book, The Magical Guide to Bliss. It is 366 insights of the day. And what I would ask you to do is set your intention now, Gracia, and basically for the interview and for maybe your life, I don't know, go crazy. And also pick a number, and the number is going to correspond to a page in the book at the end of the interview. And before we begin asking you all sorts of questions that are going to be like so enlightening, I know, and bring us total wisdom, I want to introduce her and give you guys a little bit of background. So this is the humble part where you literally are going to say, oh my God, but this is what you've done in your life. You're an Amazon 5-time best-selling author. You're an editor as well. You're a journalist, and you're also a featured writer and contributing editor at Formidable Woman magazine, as well as for Women Own Excellence, Whoa magazine, and Creating Your Seat at the Table magazine. So you are a writer in your own right. I actually used the words twice. Yay. You are your debut thriller. Now, this is cool because all of you guys out there are looking for a thriller. It is a book that had reached #1 on Amazon's bestsellers list in September 2020. And I guess sometimes, we need a little bit outside of the reality that we were living. So I guess a good horror book or a thriller book would be a great, great opportunity to do that. Her writing expertise began with poetry, and I'm going to ask you a little bit about that, involved in short stories, devotionals, and romance too. So you're all over the spectrum of writing, which is amazing. And you are the co-author of the Glambitious Guide to Winning in 2020, as well as the 2018 Amazon bestselling anthology, Letters to Our Daughters. And there's more ands here. The 2020 Amazon best-selling anthology, The Price of Greatness, where we both met. We both have that book. So that's very exciting. You've been featured on many outlets, and including Miss CEO magazine, Formidable Women, Power 20 magazine, IHearThatGirl.com, SwagHer.com, Sheen magazine, Glambitious, Courageous Women magazine. Oh my God, it goes on and on. She just is a wealth of incredible creativity and wisdom. Like I told you, she is from South Carolina, Rain, South Carolina, the mother of 4 wonderful children, and a civil litigation and criminal defense paralegal by day. So I guess that's where you got the information for your thriller, I'm sure, right? There you go.
Some of it.
Some of it. Well, I don't know. They say that, life is maybe more hysterical than actually the art. So welcome to my show this evening. I'm so glad that you're here. I would love for you to give us a little bit more, perhaps, about your background or anything else I missed.
Oh, wow. Well, you covered nearly everything, Meg. Anything else I could give about myself is, like you said, I'm from South Carolina, so I'm a southern person. I love to cook, southern food especially. I am, like you said, I've always been into writing since I've been a very little girl. And a couple other things about me, I'm divorced, and I collect knives and medieval weapons.
So she definitely probably knows the tools that they use to kill each other in her books. I'm sure if you have a knife collection, know what you write, because
yes, I'm good at that part.
There's integrity in that for sure. Well, I wanna tell you, I'm so excited to talk about your book, Handkerchief. And I also want to play it. It's kind of go into our theme today. March 22nd is It's Not in the Stars, but Within You, which goes to the quote, it's not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves. So it's kind of like taking power back and actually embracing that and going to live your life and, unfolding your destiny, how you decide, how you choose. And the insight that I pulled from it today is, when you look at a rose and you've seen its beauty, then you have to really, if you can appreciate that, then you have to look at yourself and see your own beauty. And then even each part of the rose petal works together in concert, makes up this glorious masterpiece in nature from the inside out. Every part of who we both are, who we all are, is the same. And we would honor the beauty of the rose by honoring the beauty in all of us. And that beauty entails also those talents that we have. And certainly as an author, it would be a shame had you allowed those talents to sit and not basically executed on them. I use that word very much in time with the book, right?
Right.
So one of the things about this particular theme also is if you engage your destiny, no longer controlled by the stars, but become a dance between you and the creator, then you will allow your own music to play and be inspired by what you experience every day. Now, I'm going to turn it on you and ask you, what are your thoughts on this so that, perhaps we can somehow play that into your book and what you're doing in your life at this point in time.
Okay. Well, firstly, I'd like to say I love that you chose a rose because I feel like there's a lot of semblance with that. The petals I feel like relate to the layers of us as women, as of us as people.
Yeah.
Everyone has layers. It's not always what's on the surface. And the thing about roses that I love, that I tie into the beauty, is if we're looking at the whole rose, the stem is rooted and grounded in the ground. So we have to have a firm foundation. And then there's also the thorns. A lot of people don't want to look at the thorns of roses. I'm sure that is the most displeasing part about a rose in general. But I believe that we all have thorns. Everybody has them.
Mm-hmm.
And for most of us, thorns are a great part of our beauty. Thorns, the use of thorns, the shedding of thorns, all of that comes into the beauty of the rose. And I think that reflects a lot on us as people.
I love how I think that it's so funny because we all try to show up in this perfection, but we actually are perfection with our flaws. And
right.
And it's not even the flaws, because even when you're talking about thorns and the rose, the thorns are what make the rose beautiful, because the thorns protects the rose from actual predators or anything else that might destroy it. So coming up with that, like you said, the thorns are an important part of the rose because that is the wholeness of the whole thing, and it's a beautiful as it is. So I want to pin off of that now and talk about the characters in your book, The Handkerchief. Now, please, first of all, tell us the what's the elevator pitch basically of the book. And here you go, that beautiful cover with this lovely woman walking away from oh my God, something bad happened clearly. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Okay. The premise of my book, Handkerchief, it is about a young, beautiful socialite who's a millionaire. Her name is Jordan Chandler. Jordan is a person who has everything, and the things that she does not have, she has complete resources to get these things. But Jordan has chosen as a pastime for herself murder.
So let me ask you something. I have to ask you, Jordan. Who was your inspiration for Jordan? Was it the alter ego of Gracia? I always wonder. There's got to be some reason why people write these characters into existence. Perhaps
I don't think that Jordan is actually like an alter ego, but I will say this: the main thing with Jordan's character for me was I wanted to create a character that we don't normally see in a lot of fiction, and definitely not in thrillers, because most of those books are male led. And lots of times when we have, even sometimes when we have the stronger female characters in these books, they tend to be side characters. They may be, people who have been victimized by the main, antagonist of the book. But Jordan is not a villain, and she is not a victim. I don't want to say she's like an anti-hero, because she is a killer, and killing, just for the sake of the thrill is not good.
So let me ask you one thing. Is it a mystery as to who gets offed, or is it something that unfolds in the book, or is it something that just someone's going to read the book and they're going to have to find out about what's going on?
Okay, well, there is a mystery of finding out who's done it. But the thing about Jordan and her character is she is very bold in her killings, and then she leaves certain clues that eventually go back to her. But she is very methodical. She is, the thing with her is, I'm killing because I feel I can get away with it.
Okay.
And even if I do get caught, there's a great possibility, due to my status, that I may get off. So why not?
So is this Jordan on the cover of your book?
Yeah, it is.
It is. That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about your book journey. Like, what's taken you? You said you wrote poetry, you wrote romance, you wrote all these other types of books until you wrote your obviously your thriller here with Handkerchief. Tell me a little bit about, and you're also a paralegal, so clearly you are a writer. I mean, paralegals write all the time, like for sure. That is definitely
all day.
all day. You're constantly writing, but even creative writing. I mean, paralegal. Legal writing is so, so staid sometimes. It's so basic, contractual. I don't know. You said criminal defense, so I'm sure those stories.
Yeah, there are a lot.
I'm sure those are a little bit more colorful than your random contract here or there. But tell me a little bit about your journey to becoming this storyteller.
Okay, well, it's funny. When I was younger, let's say around like elementary school, and that was way back. I used to just like write a lot of poems, and then I just became a person who was known for writing poetry. So I would be the person that a lot of kids would come to if they want a birthday poem, if they want a Mother's Day poem, if they want a Valentine's Day poem. I could just whip something up for them really quick. As time progressed, I became a person who would actually write poems for different people in my family. Like if you had a passing and you wanted a poem for your obituary, I would write those poems. And then I tried my hand at a couple of short stories. I did a couple of short story contests. And back in, God, what was this? Somewhere in the 90s, I had gotten laid off for a brief time, and my sister was really into romance novels. And she had given me one to read. And then when I finished reading it, I was like, I could write this. So then I wrote like 3 romance novels.
Oh, I love that.
And I was like, okay. And then, I did, send a few of them out for, consideration to publishing houses. None which were accepted, but that's cool. And so
you just off the characters now.
Yeah.
You tried the love. Now you're going for like, just forget it. I'm going hard.
Yeah, I'm gonna just do a complete 360, and I'm gonna write something else. And the funny thing about it is, like, I'm really not a big thriller reader.
No. Okay.
No. People who know me that, and I love to read all the time. But what I love to read is historical nonfiction or historical fiction, and then historical romance. So history, it plays into everything that I read.
Oh, I love that.
But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do something completely off the wall.
I love it.
And that's how our handkerchief came about. There's a contest that's called the NaNoWriMo in
Yes.
November. Yeah, where you can write a novel in a month.
Yes.
I wrote this for that contest maybe like 4 years ago. So
Wow.
I wrote it in a month's time.
Oh, that's awesome. And let me tell you, let me ask you, what is the origins of the title? Because we all know how important as authors titles actually are, or they always say the heading of an email is as important as the content, right? The title
Mm-hmm.
of a book is as important as the content because it's the first thing that engages besides the cover, right? So how did you come up with the title Handkerchief?
The handkerchief is one of the key elements that she leaves behind
Ah.
that leads you to her as the murderer.
I love it. And does it have any kind of symbolism or significance for her?
It does.
Okay, and
It does.
I'm not gonna ruin the story. Imagine if I
It
keep
does.
pressing you for the, tell us more, but that's like me. I always like to know the end of the book before I finish it, so I'm not gonna do that to your.
Are you one of these people that read the end first? Because I know people that read the end first.
You know what? And if it's a thriller, if or a horror story or a movie, if I'm watching it on a DVD, I'll definitely fast forward till the end so I can handle it because my nerves. I think at this age in my life, I can only handle so much drama and anxiety. So I'm like, I wither it away from the beginning. But I think everyone's got their style, right? Everyone's got their style. But I have to say that one of the coolest things about authors that I find have always been that they have memes or quotes or some kind of inspiration or anyone for that matter, but people who like to have inspiration, like I said, things that push them forward. And I had asked you for yours, and this is one of the ones that you sent to me. Always seek knowledge. And let me ask you, how does that seem to play out in your life so far?
For me, I am a forever student. I learn a lesson in everything in life, even the bad. And I think a lot of people just try to put away the bad things, but there's always a lesson in everything. And even with the bad, even if the lesson is not to do it again or to do it a different way, the next time.
Yeah, like they said, better, you do better. Hopefully that's,
Right.
yeah, it's like, yeah, sure.
So that's the thing with me. I am definitely a why person, and I tell people this all the time. When I don't believe that everything just happens. There's a cause for everything. So I'm always looking for the why. So I seek knowledge in everything.
Carolyn Arnold is saying, Gracia is so impressive in her range of writing and other talents. So apparently, you're looking for the why is definitely leading you on a really great path to, explore different areas and different talents and different skills. So the why is definitely engaging you. And the ask certainly is, the beginning to get you to where you want to go. So I also love that you are using a C.S. Lewis because he's like one of my favorite authors. And you're never too old to set another goal or dream a new dream. Please tell us what this means to you.
Okay, this means a lot to me because a lot of us feel like, if we haven't, accomplished what we thought about when we were in teens, by the time we reach, 30, that we have failed. Like
Ah,
my book was just successful last September. Last November, I was 48 years old, way beyond 30. And I think a lot of people get discouraged if they haven't, met their goals or achieved all the dreams that they're put on their list by a certain age. I just feel like you should never be discouraged by that. Every day is a new day to fulfill one of those dreams.
I
And
love
I'm the type of person, I get new dreams all the time. And I just feel like into my older, and because every time I just think about middle age, I just be like, but, um, um, into my older age, I will still want to accomplish stuff. And I feel like so many people, deem themselves as a failure if they don't have everything that they want by a certain time in life. That's not true. You only fail when you give up.
I agree with you there 100%. And you know, I think that the beauty of, you know, keeping tight or even loose with some dreams
Hmm.
that you feed off of the fire of one to the next to the next. So it's like incremental, it's momentum in the increments. And I always say forward momentum, forward momentum. It's very empowering. And also, you know, we were talking about, you know, this is beautiful. Once you learn to read, you will be forever free. So obviously, as a reader and as a writer, you said it already, you love to read. Tell me what this means to you. Obviously, it means, you know, what it means, but for you, how is this so impactful in your life?
This is impactful to me because there's a lot of things that we miss out or that we don't know or don't understand because we don't read things and we don't seek knowledge of things. And not only books, I'll say seek knowledge of other people. You
I
know, we have a lot of people who are closed minded when it comes to a lot of things.
mhm.
They don't, you know, and I know that that comes from a lot of things. Sometimes it's upbringing, sometimes, you know, it's variables to that. But reading has always been something that's fundamental to me. And I've learned so much in reading. And like I said, not only reading books, reading people, engaging in things that I myself am not familiar with.
Yeah,
That's how we learn.
yeah,
That's how we grow.
that's
And I
amazing.
believe that once you take the shackles off your mind,
Mm.
you'll be forever free.
I think that's beautiful. Once you take the shackles off your mind, you'll be forever free. And I think that the bottom line is that we don't know everything. We haven't walked a mile in other shoes. And
Right.
we read a book that'll open up a world to us that we had never had an opportunity to know before we picked up the book. So I love what you're saying there. I think it's really profound. And for everyone who's listening, you know, even if you're not someone who reads thrillers, or maybe it might be your next favorite genre, who knows, you know, if you got to pick it up and try it, right?
Right.
And you'll never know. I mean, it's like saying no to something that you've never even tried, which is really a shame. So this is beautiful. The way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them. And I am all about shining light. I figure if you can be a beacon of light, you should show up that way. Tell me a little bit about this with regard to Ida Wells, what she says to you.
I totally agree with you. We don't know what other people are going through. We don't know what other people are feeling.
Yeah,
Sometimes when we meet other people, just for meeting us, it inspires hope in other people.
yeah.
And I try my best, like you said, to shine every day. One of my friends at work says, like, every time somebody comes in here, Gracia just makes a new friend. And I do.
I love that.
But because I'm an open person most of the time. I'm a talkative person. And lots of times people just want people to talk to.
Yeah.
And like I just said, you know, without truth, you know, some people, and it depends on whatever the wrong is, or then again, I guess it doesn't. Some people can be wrong and not know that they're wrong because they have no idea what the truth even is. You know, so I try to spread truth in the best way.
Well, you know,
And
that beautiful smile doesn't make anyone like get offended when they see you coming. It's just this beautiful smile coming at them, and they're just like, okay, she can't be, you know, a threat, you know. And meanwhile, she's writing thriller books on the side. Go figure, a horror story, like
right,
murder. Like,
who would guess?
who
Who
would
would guess?
know? Who would know? But the reality is, I do believe the way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them. And you know, there's many different kinds of truth: your truth, my truth, and the truth. And you know, to get there,
Right.
it's like to seek to understand, then be understood. Foster bridges of communication and connection so that you can start the process to understanding someone else's truth, because it could be different to yours. And I think, you know, certainly by sharing your story, by becoming the storyteller, you allow that vulnerability to shine through. And, you know, I'm imagining maybe, maybe, you know, when you said, you know, the protagonist, Jordan, is something that no one normally sees in a book, right? A black,
Right.
strong, bold woman, you know, going out there and taking those knives that Gracia uses and just start killing everybody. So, it makes it definitely more of an adventure to read. And then you start like the side-eyeing you. You're like, where did this come from?
One of my friends, one of her friends actually had heard about the book, and he's actually an author on one of the books that I edit. And he told my friend, he was like, well, I don't know about Gracia. She's getting this stuff from somewhere. Maybe she has those spirits. And it just made me laugh. Like it just made me die.
You got to keep people guessing. And generally, if you are going to kill people, you don't write a book about it and tell people exactly.
Right, and tell people how I do it.
She's
There's no sense in that.
The legal field. She's smart enough to know better, right? Let's hope so.
Right.
For this I love. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or troubled. The Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Tell me how this speaks to you as well.
Okay, this is my all-time favorite Bible verse. I am a person who, believe it or not, was very, very, very shy until like my 30s.
Wow.
Like not a peep out of me unless
really
directly asked.
Okay, gotta ask. What was the wake-up call? There had to be something. So tell me.
I just decided one day I needed to start saying something, that I needed to start taking control of my life, because when you're silent like that, a lot of things tend to happen to you in life.
Okay.
If you don't say anything.
Huh.
So,
like there has to be a wake-up call. I'm gonna ask you over and over again until you tell me. Like, yeah, there had to be a moment in time where you're like, okay, enough. I'm done. I'm enough. This is enough. I'm done.
Wait, probably there at the end of my marriage.
Okay.
Not to speak ill of my ex-husband, because I will tell everybody, I tell people all the time, he and I are much better friends than we were spouses. But when you have a situation where you don't even really have control of your life,
oh yeah,
then you have to make changes.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I mean, this is a part of my story. Like, I was a very young bride. Like, I got married when I was 21.
Oh, wow.
Like, I went from home to college, back to my parents' house, and then married.
Got it.
With my own children. So it's a lot in a little span of time.
Yeah.
So that was it. And then I just started, other than concentrating on my children, I concentrated on doing things for myself. And it changed. And this is a scripture that I always say when I go into different places that give me anxiety or fear when I don't know what is going to happen. But I've always loved this verse.
So if anybody needs some strength, if you're going into a place that's giving you trepidation or fear or anything for that matter, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or troubled. The Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And that's Joshua 1:9.
Yeah.
So, I think that everybody has their power words, right? Those things that give them that they sit up straighter and they walk taller and that extra oomph to do what you came here to do, follow your purpose, go after your manifested dream, go ahead and live your life that you want. And then finally, we turn to this beautiful man, and character is like a tree and reputation like a shadow. The shadow is what we think of it. The tree is the real thing. Abraham Lincoln. Tell me, I'm just waiting to hear what you have to say about this one. That is empowering.
I love this quote. Well, firstly, I love Lincoln. He is my most read president. Like, I have like 18 books on Lincoln.
What, 18?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your favorite one on Lincoln? Just in case everyone hasn't had an intro into Abraham Lincoln was one of our presidents for sure, right? So everybody needs to know that for me to begin with. But my audience will know that. We're very intelligent.
My favorite book on Lincoln. Oh my. Team of Rivals by Doris Kearns Goodwin.
Oh, she's a good one.
The Fiery Trial by Eric Foner.
So what attracts you to Abe? Tell me,
The
honestly,
thing,
what brings you to him?
the thing that attracts me to Abraham Lincoln, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this because I know a lot of people feel this way. Many people feel like most African American people feel like Abraham Lincoln is their favorite president because of the Emancipation Proclamation and all that.
Okay.
But that's not why he's my favorite president.
Okay.
I mean, that's good, but that's not why. Abraham Lincoln is my favorite president to study about because he is a person who came from nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. And he found himself in the top office of the country, and he did it without being sneaky. He did it without compromising his moral character. And that is why I like to read about him. And I read, like I said, so many versions of his life story. And that's why, because just like this quote, it's all about character. Because we can think that we know people, we can think that we know, what they're about based on what they present to us. But all the time, much like the shadow, that's what we think it is. But what the tree is something completely different.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very profound. And I think that, first of all, it got the name Honest Abe for a reason. And so I think
Right.
and maybe everybody who's in politics nowadays keeps mentioning him because they were hoping to imitate or emulate the honesty, even though the words that come out of their mouth might not be. So there we go. But I think that the perception and the reality, it's a very interesting dynamic. And certainly as authors, right? As authors, we can play around with that concept because what people read and they like, I know those twists, the plot twists,
Yeah.
I love, there's a meme out there and goes, if something's going wrong in your day, scream plot twist and walk away. Just stop it in its tracks, shake it all up. But you can do that because you're an author, right? You're telling a story. Say plot twist.
Right.
But the whole point of the matter is that when you're the storyteller, you control the environment. But certainly when you contemplate character, you do control that as well. The narrative and how you present yourself to the world and how you come about in the world and what you put out in the world. Because ultimately, what is it that you wanted your audience to take away from Handkerchief?
Wow. Now I'm thinking, did I want them to, because there's a lot of bad things in Handkerchief. Did I want them to take away something from that?
Well, I mean, everybody
okay. I guess the main thing that I would say take away from it is be your own person and be who you are. Because even though Jordan does these things, she is her own person.
She's her own person.
And she is exactly who she is.
Wow.
Regardless of what anyone may think about it. She does what she deems is best for her. At all times.
No apologies at all, right?
At all times.
Wow.
Another cool thing about Abe Lincoln is he's a storyteller. Like, that's one of the things about him that they write about in all of the books. Like, he spins a good yarn.
He spins a good yarn. There you go. I love that. That's awesome. And, one of the things that, it's always good to have, like, I'm going to take you back to your book again, is as a storyteller to truly embody your story. And I say that because when we're talking about manifesting, right? And we're manifesting together tonight, and we're anyone who's listening who needs tools to perhaps, shift their life. One of the best things about this show is that I get to engage extraordinary people bringing their ideas to the fore. So those who are listening could possibly embrace a path that's more in line with what they want in their life, in this world, et cetera, et cetera. So, what do you think, asking you now, what is the one thing that you think that moves you forward in your life from the concept of a dream to the realization of the dream?
I would say the one thing that moves me forward is the opportunity to grow.
Okay.
Because when we stop and we're stagnant, there's no growth. And if you're stagnant, you die. That's what they say.
Yeah.
I like the opportunity of at least becoming a little bit better every day. So the opportunity for growth is what moves me forward.
Okay. And then coming from the idea of handkerchief to the actual realization of handkerchief, obviously you did it in a month. So you knew that one month. And for those who, maybe you can explain to those who don't know about NaNoWriMo, right? Is NaNoWriMo
Right.
of November.
That's it.
There is a contest out there in the writing world. Go ahead. The National, what is it? Has a novel writing
National Novel Writing Month, and it's from November 1st to November 30th. And you can write in any genre. The whole goal is to make 50,000 words, which is the length of a shorter novel.
Right.
And you get different badges for different things that you do, and then you get an option when it's complete. You can have it published, your book published through Create Press or something like that if that's what you wish. But it's a whole lot of fun. But the thing about the Nano is it forces you to have discipline. Because to even make the 50,000 words, you have to write at least 1,667 words a day. So, even if you write 800 in the morning, 800 at night, it forces you to be accountable. And then you get to update your word count every day. So it's for somebody who wants to do it, but, they always feel like, I don't have time, or they start and stop. Because I've been a start stopper on a lot of different, because I have partial novels too. But it's a great tool for somebody who requires that discipline.
So that's
but you can do it in a month.
Yeah, and also there is a collaborative effort because you're doing it with a group of other people, so you're kind of all cheering each other on as well, which is something that they always say that teams that thrive together usually are the ones that get in the pit and get scrappy together, right? So the whole idea is that having this experience with other people, and you're not sitting in your bedroom, not that that's a bad thing, because a lot of people have to sit in their bedroom and be like quiet and silent and whatever, but it does make the experience more exciting as well. So
it does, and not only with just the people there, they have state groups, you have region groups, like our region group before COVID. Like we used to meet at Barnes like a couple of times during the Nano, we discussed. So you can really meet a lot of people who are doing the same thing. Because we have a good many people in our little regional group.
Awesome. That's great. So you actually had a cohort yourself.
Right.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's awesome.
And then I made like 7 other people friends with me who aren't in my region.
So if anyone's out there thinking about writing a book and you just happen upon November, check out NaNoWriMo, because that is really an opportunity for you to get something started and certainly get the words out there and then play around with it. And then you'll at least have something tangible that you could bring your dream to more fruition. You can work on later on, which is amazing.
And they even have like little summer camps where you can actually do some exercises in the summer to prepare you for the November event.
That's awesome. I love it. So then keep an eye over. It is Nano, NaNoWRMO.com or .org. Is it .org?
WRIMO.
Okay.
.org.
.org. Okay. So check it out. And there's maybe camps that you might want to take a look at, go back to Canada.
Yeah. And even if you have, and shout outs to the Nano, but even if you have, kids that like to write, because they even have like a children's or juniors division, for kids that want to write.
So the publisher of my next memoir, Brooke, is on a podcast with the founder of NaNoWriMo.
Oh, yay!
And I'll have to put in the feed after this her podcast, because she basically interviews tons of authors and all these great, but with him. And I always found it so interesting how these synchronistic things happen, so I will definitely hook everybody up after the show, and I'll put it in the feed,
Oh,
so
please
people can
do.
check it out. It's amazing. They interview a ton of really cool people. And, I think, let me see if I can find it as we speak. But one of the things I wanted to ask you about with regard to your process, at this point in your life is, I think that, we went through 2020, which could have felt like a thriller for many, not one that we actually enjoyed, right? But
Right.
a lot of it had a lot of ups and downs. And I think that, entering 2021, are you ready to write your next thriller novel? Or are you?
I am, because this book is actually the first of a trilogy. So I
Oh,
actually
okay.
have two more books with Jordan that I actually have to write.
Oh, there you go.
So
So this is
I've started a little bit on book 2 already.
so do you already have a title, or we just have to all wait with bated breath for the next?
Oh, I can tell you what the title is.
Okay, tell us what the title is.
Book 2 is going to be titled Pendant. Pendant is book 2.
Pendant?
Yes.
Pendant. Okay, very good. So it's a trilogy. So you have a 1, 2, and 3, little about our friend here, Jordan, or is there
Yeah.
another? Okay, she's coming back for more. So the podcast that I was referring to is Brooke Warner, and she's in Right Minded Podcast with Grant Faulkner of National Novel Writing Month. So there you go. So if you're interested in another great podcast, then certainly check that out. But also, I'm going to ask you about Pendant. Did you actually, launch with the idea of having 3 books, or was this something that came about after you saw how cool, the unfolding was?
Oh no, I had it as an idea to begin with, because I left book 1. Book 1 is open ended at the end.
Cliffhangers.
Yeah. So I was like,
Oh, you're like Alfred Hitchcock, man. He does that all the time. No, there you go.
I just didn't feel like Jordan had done enough.
Oh,
And the funny thing about Jordan is she's the type of character where, like, you want to, like, not like her or be angry, but then she's also kind of like a chill person that you could actually really like.
yeah.
So it's
As long as you don't know she's murdering people, I think.
right. As long as you don't know what she does in her free time.
There you go.
Well,
Carol,
after we go to brunch.
yeah,
Things she does after brunch.
Carolyn's also saying that she loves how you feel and use the quotes as a way to live your life. So it's very inspiring. And I find that
Thank you.
I find that really impressive, how people guide their lives by certain quotes and things that inspire them. Because I think sometimes in life, like you said, we're not all perfect, and we're not all gonna live life without, but it's always nice to have those things that inspire us to move on and hold our heads up high and deal with another day, that
Right.
opportunity, that fun opportunity that every time we wake up in the morning, it's a get to, not a have to. So that's awesome. I love that you are inspired to do that. And once again, I said, the manifest, the manifesting of the life, the priorities that we have, what do we align with? What are some of the best tools that you, in fact, use to help manifest your incredible journey and from now in the present into your future?
That's interesting. I do a lot of self-reflection time.
Okay, very good.
I do a lot of self-reflection time because there are a lot of things that happen that we can easily put on to other people. But when the same things are happening over and over again, it's really probably not other people, it's you. So
you're like, why is this following me? Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because you're following me. So yeah, I do a lot of self-reflection time. I also am a great fan of journaling. I have always done that even when I was a younger kid, because like I said, I was very shy. So writing down stuff was much better than speaking it out for me. And journal practices are something that I use. And music.
And music.
Because I love music. Like I have a very long, very eccentric playlist.
Okay, so what's your go-to song when you're feeling blocked, creatively? What do you go to get your creative juices flowing?
Okay, when I'm feeling that way, and I know a lot of people gonna be like, what? One of my favorite songs that I just feel like just hypes me up for everything is Super Beast by Rob Zombie. I like love that song and I love to
Oh
play
my God.
live.
Okay, Super Beast by Rob Zombie will get you
Yeah,
going, apparently. I don't know
yeah.
the song, so I'm gonna have to check it out.
You would like it. Like I
Yeah.
like a lot of rock. I like a lot of 80s rock.
Yes.
I like a lot of alternative. But then I also love 90s R&B because that's my jam. A lot of stuff. A
Yeah.
lot of stuff. It just depends.
So it depends on your mood, but you definitely
Yeah,
are a music person. You go to music to get your creative juices flowing for sure. That's awesome.
I do. And I think it's because I've always been around music. Like music was always played in my home when I was a child.
Yeah.
I listen to music all the time. All of my children are just like me. Like we're known for just being places with headphones in, just listening.
I love it.
I love music.
I love it. So anybody out there who needs some manifesting tools, we have some, total self-reflection, journaling, and we have some Rob Zombie music. So go check that out because it could be just the thing that you didn't know you always wanted to listen
Right.
for. There is maybe the next jam. I don't know. And maybe that was why she came out with a thriller. Who knows?
Maybe.
It could be. One of the things that I asked you at the outset was to pick a number around your intention. And I think that this is a great opportunity to actually ask you what was your intention for this evening so we could, get a look into the mind of Gracia.
My intention for this evening was to inspire. That's my intention.
Awesome.
Because I want people to understand, keep at it. I mean, don't give up. I don't care if right now you feel like, but I've tried it 1,000 times. Okay, try it 1,001 times.
You hear that, everybody? It's
Keep at it.
always too early to give up. So
It
keep
is.
at it. Keep going because, there's nothing better than holding that book in your hand. And let me ask you, how did it feel when you had the final work product in your hand?
Oh my God, I was like so excited. Like when I knew the print copies were coming, I was like tracking the boxes like every day.
That's awesome. A lot of the authors that I'm working with right now, everybody, when they get their arc, they show it on the on Facebook or any kind of social media, and it's like a joint celebration. So it's kind of like woohoo! Everyone's like celebrating with you because everyone who is an author, and maybe those who aren't, they know how much work it took to make that dream a reality. But like you said, keep going because it's never over and your dreams are never fully realized until they are. And
It's not, and I'm a great fan of to-do lists, and you can do the same thing with your goal list. Every time I do on the to-do list or accomplish something on the goal list, I will strike that one out, and then I'll write a new one in its place.
well, I think you have to have a list because how do you balance 4 children, a day job, and writing so much for magazines and for other anthologies and your own books? How do you do that? I wonder. So at least
It's
you're somewhat organized, right?
Yeah, well, I'm obsessed with planners. I have like two or three of them. Fortunately for me, and this is good for people who are getting there later in life. My youngest son will be 17 next week. All of my other children are in their 20s. So I don't have to manage them.
Yes.
They're managing themselves.
Yes. Well, that's definitely
So
good. So it leaves room for your dreams now, and you get to
right.
say, yeah, for sure, for sure. So, what number did you pick in the magical guide?
My number is 191.
Okay. Do you have the book with you? Awesome. So, read from 191 for us.
Okay.
This is the synchronistic part of the show where it'll match exactly your intentions, hopefully.
Okay. Let me find 191. Oh, my goodness.
And I just want to point out, everybody, that she did set the mood for this evening on this wonderful, wonderful Facebook Live. We have the wall, which I'm not sure if that's a part of anything in her book, but I will let you guys read it and
Ambiance. It's for ambiance.
against the brick wall. I don't know. It does seem like something that is foreboding, and God only knows what would happen for sure.
It's for ambiance.
Yeah. Well, it does kind of look like if you put the shape of the dead body on the floor, you could actually paint it on the wall, and that
You
would
could. You could do the little outline.
That's right. You can have fun with that. I'm sure if you had younger kids, maybe they would do it for you, but I don't know.
Oh, they would.
Yeah, for sure.
My middle son is actually an artist. He would do it for me now.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So why don't you read 191 and share with us what the correlating insight is?
Okay, 191 is don't postpone joy for the future. It is yours today.
There you go.
There it is. And it says, happiness is emotional. It comes and goes. Joy, on the other hand, in a way of being, okay, it's a choice. I can choose to live my foundation of joy, the joy of being alive. Robert White, American executive coach and author of Living an Extraordinary Life.
There you go, with extraordinary people. There you go.
Right.
So there you go, for sure.
And the magical key to bliss is enjoy being alive today.
Okay, so that is the inspirational hit from the Magical Guide corresponding with Gracia's beautiful intention of
everyone needs to get this book. Tell them, Meg, everybody needs to get this book.
You know, I have to tell you, my intention behind writing that book was to give myself a guide to walk me through life when I was pretty much at the lowest point. So I figure if I could write it and share it and then give it to whoever out there might need it, then that would be my opportunity to make a great stake in the world, you know, to be that positive, you know, influence perhaps. But I do appreciate, you know, the path that's opened up where I get to meet other great authors and great people for that matter who are extraordinary in their own right. So I do want to go back to what I had asked initially. What priorities do you have for now into the future? Other than their trilogy, what more can we see from you, and where can we in fact find you, Gracia?
Okay, well, you and I had spoke about this a bit, but I did say something about it here since we've been on. Another main goal of mine, starting at the second half of this year, I will be doing a lot of research on my first history book that I'm going to write.
Oh, how wonderful!
So,
and do you have? Oh, you're not telling. I don't know. I like to put the light on someone, but is it around something that's near and dear to you, or is it something in general that you have an interest in?
It's around founding documents of the United States of America.
Oh, awesome! Wow.
So I'm very excited about that.
So what made you interested in that particular topic?
Well, you know, with not even the political, but the climate of America in general, you know, they love to say that, and people always, you know, they quote the Declaration of Independence all the time. They quote, you know, the Constitution all the time. And then, of course, they quote the Bible all the time. So we got 3 supposed founding documents of this nation.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? For all of the historical books I have different books on them individual, but nobody's really taken the task of, you know, going through the documents, you know, showing correlations of the documents, you know, actually testing out the theories of what these documents are supposed to mean to this nation versus the reality of what they don't mean. And I was like, why not me?
Why not?
Why not me?
So that's going to take you all over the globe, I think, because if you're going to do the Bible, maybe you go to Jerusalem. And
I would love to go there.
That'd be awesome.
I would love to go.
I said, you know, for a person who likes to explore the world, picking up the writing habit and starting writing books about things that are interesting to you would just give you another impetus to learn more about your life and other people's lives, and you know, like you said before, perspective and understanding, you know, different people's truths is certainly the beginning of an amazing opportunity for anybody, because if you're able to bring it back to those who aren't able to go about the world like you might want to, then you have offered a insight into the world for someone else, which is amazing. I think as definitely extraordinary for sure, right?
Yeah, and so many, you know, and then it's like so many authors who have already done it, you know, that have brought back things for places that I know that I will never see in
Yeah,
life, but the reading of their work is so great.
yeah,
And
it's
and the things that I read, all of them are like, you know, like you're theirs, because I read, you
yeah,
know, the books that interest me are very detailed.
yeah. Well, you said historical nonfiction, so clearly,
Yeah.
if we're going to hold someone to that, you know, element of you know, extraordinary, you better have your facts straight, especially coming from a law office that you are in. You know, better have your damn facts straight.
That's it.
For
Facts are everything.
facts are everything. And you know, I think you know, it's funny. The day I found out, like, I don't know, I found it when I was like, I was in elementary school, and someone told me that everything I read has a bias, and I'm like, what? It's not the truth. It was like my whole world exploded open because it's clear. So I always learn about the authors as well. I always research the authors because I want to know from the perspective they come, because I
Right.
think that's as important as reading the content themselves. You know, if I were to read your book, I would want to know more about you. So
Mm-hmm.
as we sum up this interview tonight, I want you to leave us with something really telling about yourself that we're not going to be able to find out if we do the research and we'll look into your, you know, who knows what people are going to do. But, you know, what about you do you want us to take away tonight, you know, as we decide to read your books and engage in your storytelling and your stories?
Hmm.
Uh-oh.
Something that you wouldn't, I'm thinking something that you wouldn't find out about me. Hmm. Gracia Rich does not have it all together.
Ah, you definitely look like you have it all together, but
Gracia Rich does not have it all together.
yeah.
Every day is a process, believe it.
Mhm.
Accomplishments, okay, yes, but in the grand scale of things, not all together.
And that is an actual beautiful thing, because you get to write all about what that looks like and is amazing. And you get to hold those books at the end of the day in your hands. Because I'm sure Jordan, murdering many people, does not have it all together.
No, she's totally cracked. She,
Yeah. Clearly, she has anger issues. I'm not sure if we should have let a get to that point in life, but we're definitely. Well, tell us, Gracia, where can we find your books? And for sure, give us your webpage if you have one, or maybe your social media that we can actually go, you know, go find out more.
okay, well, you can find my books at Amazon, of course, Barnes and Noble, print and ebook form.
Okay.
You can find me at my website, Gracia Collins Rich, GraciaCollinsRich.com. You can
Awesome.
find me on Facebook as Gracia Collins Rich. You can find me on Instagram at Beautifully Natural Geek.
I love that one. Tell us a little bit. How did you pick that call name for you?
Because well, I have natural hair and I'm like probably like one of the geekiest people you'll ever meet.
Awesome.
Because I'm like the book, movie, music, anime, cartoon, nerd geek of everything.
Wow, you
But
definitely are
I
eclectic.
love it though.
Your range, like she said, Carolyn said, your range is vast for
and
sure.
and the funny thing, like I've always been a geeky person, but like by the time I was like 10 years old, I accepted that I was a geek. I didn't mind being a solo person. I've never been a clique person or a group person. I've always been perfectly fine with that. And I've turned my children into a little small million of geeks. So we have the most fun time ever, like when we're all together.
I love it. I think, and that's pretty much what life is all about, enjoying each other for sure. So give us a final inspirational word to send everyone off into the beautiful world of writing or anything that you can imagine you dreamed up.
My inspirational word would be evolve.
Evolve.
Work to change where you are now to what you want to become.
I love it.
That's my word.
And evolve, if you look at the word, it spells out love. So there you go.
It does.
Yes, it does. So I do want to point out as well before we go tonight that I have my memoir coming out, Butterfly Awaken, September 7th, 2021. Super excited, and goes along the theme of never give up that Gracia has been talking about. Never give up on the beauty of your dreams. As you guys know, I look at people as butterflies. We go through the transformation process. And I also want to point out, all of you readers out there, you got to pick up Handkerchief, because it is clearly going to help you set off your own aggression, maybe release it as well as you read it, and perhaps feel the release from someone else doing the dirty work, for sure.
Yes, yes.
For sure.
Read and enjoy. Do not imitate.
Yeah,
do not imitate.
We do have a caveat. We do not condone violence.
We do not
condone reading. Reading.
That's it. Reading is fundamental.
Reading is fundamental for sure, because you want to know your why. So you got to ask, right?
Right.
And I want to thank you, Gracia, for this wonderful interview tonight. I want to remind everybody that we're here to be deliberate creators of our life. Dream big, and let's all raise the vibration on this planet by using our talents and our gifts. And at the beginning of time, if you are that little kid in that classroom writing poetry, that one day you're going to get paid for that incredible work. So keep writing, keep dreaming. I want to say, let's love ourselves exactly where we are. Be bold like Jordan, just not with a knife. And it's time to manifest the life of your dreams. Thank you, Carolyn. I am so excited to bring these books out into the world. Thank you for my second interview on my authors, officially my author broadcast. And everybody have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me, Meg.
Thank you so much.